This young actress and beauty queen went missing 42 years ago and has still never been found. This is the chilling story of the disappearance of Tammy Lynn Leppert, who vanished without a trace in July of 1983. Tammy was born in Rockledge, Florida on February 5, 1965, and spent her childhood participating in beauty pageants. She participated in over 300 of them. And she won a lot, roughly 280 crowns, which is super impressive. She was gorgeous. She loved being on stage. She loved being in front of the bright lights and being in front of an audience. She had a bright and bubbly personality that showed on and off stage. By her teens, she got into modeling and acting. She had landed small roles in movies like Little Darlings, Spring Break, and even Scarface. In Scarface, she appeared in that famous chainsaw scene. But after a wild party following the Spring Break movie, her friends and family noticed a big shift in her behavior. She became paranoid. She thought that someone was out to unalive her or poison her. Her mother, Linda, was so overwhelmed by this change in her behavior, and she became very concerned about her daughter. So she took Tammy to be evaluated at a mental hospital where she was held for 72 hours. But doctors found no signs of drugs or alcohol in her system, and she had passed all of their psychiatric evaluations. So despite her fears of being unalived or poisoned, Tammy kept working as an actress. On the Scarface set, she broke down in tears after filming a violent scene, and she was told to go home. Her mom remembers her asking, quote, "What if I tell you someone's gonna kill me, Mom?" End quote. This one question became a central focus in the investigation. Did she know that she had a stalker? Did she know that someone was after her? Did she know that someone was going to try to unalive her or poison her? We don't really know. On July 6, 1983, Tammy left home around 11 a.m. with her friend Keith Roberts. She told her mom that she would be back soon. But Tammy and Keith spent their entire car ride arguing. And Keith wasn't having any of it, so he dropped her off at Cocoa Beach near the old Glass Bank building. Tammy was last seen in flip-flops, carrying a gray purse and wearing a denim skirt with flowers on the front. At some point that afternoon, Tammy had used a payphone to call her friend and her aunt, asking for them to come pick her up. But those calls never got answered, and that's the last anyone ever saw or heard from Tammy again. She just vanished. 5 days later, her family reported her missing. I'm not entirely sure why it took her friends and family 5 days to come to the conclusion that she was missing. This is just me, and maybe I'm this way because I research all these true crime cases, but if one of my friends or family went missing, I would call police ASAP. But police initially found no signs of foul play, no clues, and Keith was questioned because he was the last person to be seen with her alive, but he was cleared by police and let go. The initial investigation didn't bring up any promising leads, and it eventually went cold. But some theories had slowly emerged. One involved a man named Christopher Wilder, who at the time was known as the Beauty Queen. Christopher preyed on young models in Florida at the time, but he was eventually ruled out. Another theory pointed to a man named John Crutchley, who was a serial killer known as the Vampire, and he had lived nearby, but was never linked to Tammy in any way. Tammy's mother, Linda, later said that she believed Tammy, quote, "knew something she shouldn't," end quote. Investigators thought this information was possibly related to a local drug or money laundering ring, which could be what have put her in serious danger. But again, investigators found no proof of this. It was just a theory. Over the decades, there has been no trace of her, no remains, no credible sightings, and no proper arrests. Something that is super infuriating is her dental records were lost, her fingerprints went missing from databases, which is so not helpful in a missing persons investigation. But luckily, her DNA samples still do exist. So there is a tiny little sliver of hope that one day this investigation could move forward with the right information. She was only 18 when she went missing. She was barely an adult, and she had such a bright future that just got cut short. To this day, 42 years after her disappearance, Tammy Lynn Leppert is still classified as an endangered missing person. If you made it this far, thank you for listening to Tammy's story. This case was highly requested by you guys, so I would love to hear your thoughts and theories in the comments. Also, a disclaimer that I am just a girl, I am not a lawyer. All of this is just information from the internet, so if any of it is incorrect, please correct me in the comments. Don't be mad at me. I post true crime videos like this one every day, so if you enjoy that type of content, make sure you follow so you don't miss my next video, and please, 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 please stay safe out there. You never know what's right around the corner. This man was driving home from college for Christmas break and then all of a sudden, boom, completely vanished into thin air, never to be seen again. This is the case of Jason Landry. Quick disclaimer that I'm just a girl, I'm not a lawyer, and all this information is publicly available. This is also an active and unsolved case, so all of this information is alleged. Jason Landry was a 21-year-old college student at Texas State University in San Marcos, Texas. He was smart, funny, creative, and compassionate. He loved music, gaming, hanging out with friends, and was looking forward to seeing his family for this Christmas break. He was excited to go home to Missouri City, Texas, and spend time with his family for the holidays. On December 13th, 2020, he left his apartment late at night around 10:55 p.m., planning to make the 2.5-hour drive home. But he never made it. Somewhere outside of the small town of Lulling, his car, which was a gray Nissan Altima, was found the next morning, crashed, abandoned on a rural gravel road called Salt Flat Road. And right away, the crash looked strange. The car had hit a tree and a fence, but it was still running, the lights were still on, the keys were still in the ignition, and all of Jason's belongings were still inside the car. But no sign of Jason. And what police and searchers found the next day only deepened the mystery. Jason's wallet, backpack, toiletries, and even his gaming equipment were left in the car. All things that people would assume he was bringing home for break. And very eerily, pieces of his clothing like his shirt, shorts, and flip-flops were found outside of the car, scattered, almost like it was a trail. His scent was tracked by dogs for a short distance, but then it suddenly disappeared, as if he maybe got picked up by somebody, or if the scent trail just ended. Search efforts were massive. Within hours, Texas Search and Rescue, drones, helicopters, and canine units combed the surrounding areas. And over the following weeks, hundreds of volunteers scoured fields, creeks, and brush, but no sign of Jason was ever found. Even the FBI and the Texas Attorney General's Cold Case and Missing Persons Unit later reviewed the evidence, bringing in accident reconstruction experts, digital forensic teams, and behavioral analysts to take a look at the case. Everyone and their mother was searching for Jason. The entire community came together and every resource possible was trying to find him. Like I said at the beginning, this is an unsolved case, so this only leaves us to theorize. What could have happened? There are a few main theories that are circulating online, so I wanted to touch on them and let me know which one you believe. The first theory is that Jason crashed, then got disoriented, and wandered off into the night. Temperatures were near freezing because it was the middle of winter on the night of the crash. And with colder temperatures, Jason may have experienced hypothermia. Hypothermia can cause confusion and even cause the bizarre behavior of removing clothes called paradoxical undressing. This could explain why there was a trail of clothes leading away from the car. But if that's true, where did he go? Clothed or unclothed, Jason's never been found. The second theory is that Jason was picked up. Remember that his scent trail ended suddenly, which could